Do you want to know how to be able to identify a narcissist from conversation? You're like listening to them talk and you're thinking, I think that person might be a narcissist. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to identify a narcissist just by hearing them talk. Hi, I'm Rebecca Zung, and I am a globally recognized narcissist negotiation expert. I'm also an attorney who's been recognized by U.S. News as a best lawyer in America. I've written a couple of best-selling books, and I've got a brand new one in pre-order, which you can pre-order now and get tons of bonuses, including an entire copy of the manuscript. And you can go to slaythebully.com and check that out and get it. And I want you to make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when I upload brand new videos, which is every single day. Free resources right here every single day. Okay, how to identify a narcissist from conversation. 8 ways, telltale signs that you're talking to somebody and you're like, yeah, that person's definitely a narcissist. And it's not what you might think. It's not saying something good about themselves, okay? Just because somebody says, I'm good at something, or yeah, I did a good job, that does not make that person a narcissist. That's okay. It's all right if somebody says something good about themselves. Actually, we should encourage people to say something good about themselves. Now, a narcissist is a person who actually, they're a self-centered person. It's never about anybody else other than themselves, okay? So this is a person who, number one, probably interrupts a lot. The other person is talking and literally mid-sentence, they're just so completely oblivious to the fact that another person is talking, they just start interrupting. And they don't even realize that the other person is talking. They don't go, oh, I'm sorry, you were saying something, go ahead, or whatever. They just start talking. And especially, if it's like early on in the relationship or something like that, and just let the other person just go, especially if they're just mostly talking about themselves or, something in their own lives or whatever. That's like definitely a telltale sign. Number one, they interrupt a lot. Number two is they never stop talking about themselves. They're just, during an early phase of the relationship, you should be hearing questions about you. Tell me about you. Tell me about your life. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your job. The person should be interested in, or at least feign interest in you. This is a person who, like, if all they can't do is to talk about themselves, you might as well be a piece of furniture on the other side of the table. That's going to be a problem. Okay, they don't stop talking about themselves. The next one is they don't even stop to ask about you. I've noticed this even long into relationships with people sometimes. I remember having a client one time who was always, a fixture. Basically, he became a fixture in our office because he was just so wrapped up in his case, and he was, so worried about his kids all the time. And he was a likable guy in a lot of ways. And he became, really close to one of my paralegals. He became really close to one of my associates. My whole staff got to know him pretty well because, his case was like going on forever and everybody got to, be a part of it. But then one of my paralegals said, I just kind of noticed that, he was never really interested in anybody else other than himself. Like, he never really asked about what was going on in any of our lives. He never asked about me or my kids or anything like that. And she just got tired of it because she just felt like he didn't really care about anybody but himself. And so she just, eventually, when the case was over, the guy, I guess, thought that he was going to become friends with our paralegal or some of the other staff or whatever. And she was just like, no, I just feel like he's just too self-centered. It was like one thing when the case was going, because obviously everything was about him. But she just said, like, even when the case wrapped up, he still continued to not be interested in anybody but himself. So, if a person doesn't ever stop to ask about you, that could be a really big red flag. Or maybe number 4, maybe they do stop to ask about you, but they don't stop to listen to the answer, or they're not interested in the answer. I know I've definitely been at cocktail parties or barbecues or social functions where somebody has asked me, how are things at work or whatever, how's everything? And then I start to answer them, and then they start looking at their phone. Or they start looking around and, maybe there's somebody, you're looking for somebody more interesting to talk to, or they're kind of half listening to the answer, and you start going, well, maybe it's not all that interesting. Like, you don't really care about answering the question because they're not really all that interested in hearing about it anyway. So whatever. Like if somebody asks about you or what's going on, and then they don't really listen to the answer, or they're not interested, or maybe they just kind of interrupt the answer halfway through, then that's another part of it too. That might be a telltale sign that the person is a narcissist. Is this resonating with you guys so far? Give me a yes in the chat. How many of you guys have seen any of these so far? I'm sure that you've seen them so far. Number 5 is constant criticism of others. They're just judgy. These are super judgy people. They're just, this person is that, this person is that, my ex was this. They're just constantly wanting to talk about other people. Everybody is a problem, constantly criticizing other people. That just is low vibrational energy. And that is just a no zone for me at this point in my life anymore. I don't feel like having it around. No, I want good people in my life, high vibration people, happy people. So if that's something that's happening, then I'm thinking that's not a good person. Another sign. Number 6 is gaslighting. They're talking and they're saying something, and they literally just said something to make you crazy. So I had the funniest conversation with somebody recently. He was a friend of mine who happens to be Chinese, and he was talking about how his grandma, literally, it's a funny gaslighting example, where he was saying that his grandma got in a car accident and she was kind of gaslighting the person that she hit, because it happened to be a 16-year-old, where it was basically her fault. And she got out and she was like, it's okay, you're an inexperienced driver. Basically trying to make it seem like it was his fault. Obviously, I don't think his grandma is a narcissist, but I don't know. But, basically gaslighting the other person, that's a way to identify a narcissist from conversation. They try to make the other person think they're crazy. Number 7 is lack of interest in others. They're just not interested in anyone else either. So, I've been talking about not interested in you or the other person, whoever it is that they're talking to, but they're just not really interested in anyone else either. They're just only interested in themselves. So that's number 7. And number 8, inability to accept any form of criticism at all. And even the slightest thing, sometimes they take things as slights or criticisms that aren't slights or criticism. When you're saying something about them, they take things as slights or criticisms that actually aren't. There's a discrepancy in the bill at the restaurant or something, and they take that as personal affront or something. I mean, I remember being with a family member one time who was dating somebody who was, a little bit crazy. And the person was upset because they didn't get as many French fries as other people. And they take that as a personal affront. Things that are they just see things that aren't there kinds of things, So inability to take slights or criticisms, that can be a massive, huge problem. And you can identify narcissists that way as well. So I would love to know what you guys think. If you've seen any of these, which ones have you seen? Put that in the comments. If you are dealing with a narcissist and you need to disarm them, get my free phrases for disarming narcissists at disarmthenarc.com. And if you need to have support, go to my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. For sure, you're going to want to do that. If you need therapy, go to betterhelp.com/Rebecca Zung to get the therapy and help and support that you need from somebody that we trust. We receive commissions on that. It doesn't cost you any extra. The next video that I want you to watch are killer comebacks to narcissist insults. Such a good video. So good. So make sure you go check that out. Make sure you subscribe here, hit that notification, then we go watch killer comebacks to narcissist insults. I'm Rebecca Zung. Remember, today is a great day to start negotiating your best life. You guys got this. You're amazing. Remember, they only win if you give in. No reason to do that because we're here. We're here supporting you every single day. And I'm going to see you in that next video. All right. You got this.